Time for another game of contender or pretender. We got 5 weeks of college football under our belts, the whole month of September to look back on. So we're going to look at some teams that are starting to make some noise or some teams who are drawing attention in the wrong way. We're going to start, though, with Georgia.
Oh.
Talk about the wrong way.
I don't think so. Okay, so I was doing a show with Elle Duncan, noted Georgia fan.
Yes.
Her fandom is through the roof. This is the worst thing that possibly could have happened to the Bulldogs because they teased us. They were getting smoked in the first half. But think about everything that transpired in that game, going on the road as road favorites, having their undefeated season. They were down by 21 points in a hostile environment against a freaking Alabama team who was clicking on all cylinders. And Georgia, unequivocally, was not clicking on any cylinders. They were a hybrid. No cylinders
correct.
needed. They were an electric vehicle, but they were able to turn things on and take a lead in the final minutes of that game, playing the worst football we've seen Carson Beck play, the worst football we've seen Georgia as a unit play under Kirby Smart, and still almost left Tuscaloosa with a win. Yes, not great to get a loss, but this loss and the way they were able to storm back, I think has some positive attributes. You should not be worried about this Georgia team.
You could hear Kirby Smart say, hey, I'm proud of the fight, proud of the way we responded, all that good stuff. The problem is this is not an isolated thing. The game before, and it was 2 weeks before.
Sure.
2 weeks to prepare for Bama. So they had 2 weeks to come out and then lay that first half.
But didn't Kentucky, holding them and playing them close, show us that maybe Kentucky's a whole lot better than we thought they were? Because they went on the road to Oxford and knocked off the number 6 team in the country in Ole Miss.
So
Kentucky's way better than people think.
Did not have a multi-interception game in his career until Alabama. He threw 3 of them. They were backbreakers. There were times where I wondered what he was seeing or what he was feeling. And that whole like, hey, I'm seeing ghosts out there.
Yeah.
I got to see more from Carson
Sam
Beck.
Darnold 2.0.
Got to see
MVP
more from Carson
frontrunner.
I'm just wondering if the whole like, hey, first overall pick in the draft thing, has that come back to earth a little bit?
People were talking about seeing that.
Speaking of draft picks, what about Colorado?
I don't know about that.
What do you see? Colorado, contender? Wait, where are we landing on Georgia? Contender?
Contender.
For you?
Contender.
All right, still a contender.
Contender in the college football playoff.
What about Colorado? Contender or pretender?
Colorado is a contender in that they are going to contend for a bowl game.
For a bowl game, and that's an improvement.
And that's an improvement from a team that did not get to the 6 wins last year, even though they came out of the gates hot. Their over-under on wins was 3.5, and they hit the under. This year, they've already gone over the 3.5 mark. 3-game heater. They need 2 more. Listen, I'm not saying that the bar is limbo low for Colorado because they are the team that has all of the hype. They're the team that has one legitimate Heisman contender in Travis Hunter and another guy who's on the fringes with Shedeur Sanders who keeps throwing 4-touchdown games and keeps winning games in exciting fashion for the Buffs.
Yeah.
This is going to be like one of those, hey, come out to the San Diego County Credit Union Poinsettia Bowl. And that's okay.
Yeah.
San Diego's wonderful in December.
America's finest city for
all right?
a reason.
You can get taquitos there. That's what they call them.
Rolled tacos?
That's what they call taquitos.
They're so good. And Roberto's?
Contender?
Or El Indios? No, they're a pretender. They're going to.
For a bowl game?
I thought we were talking national title. Okay,
well,
for a bowl game contender.
I'm watering it down.
I'm watering it down. Playoff pretender. Here's the thing: they've already matched their conference win total from last year.
Yeah.
They have 1, and now they have Kansas State. Kansas State got boat raced by BYU. I want to see what Kansas State has.
Okay.
That's going to tell us a lot. What about Miami? Miami is our next.
Miami
or pretender. The Miami Hurricanes.
Miami definitely a contender. They are undefeated. Cam Ward. You talk about Heisman frontrunner. Listen, he was the Heisman betting favorite going into week 4, and then Jalen Milroe had the game that Jalen Milroe had, and he sort of leapfrogged him in that conversation. But the way Cam Ward is playing, the way he's facilitating the Miami offense, this is going to be a weird one going to Cal, who's only lost 1 game this season. It was last week. It was a close game. Virginia Tech played him tough last season, but Miami was able to will themselves to a win. It was a weird call in the end zone.
It was an incorrect
call.
That was a touchdown. Go
ahead. He didn't really secure possession.
Was there enough to overturn it?
But they ruled it a touchdown, so then they overruled it. Maybe people are arguing that there wasn't enough to overrule it. But I think the way Miami is playing, they are good. ACC isn't as great as we expected them to be. I think the biggest test that they're going to face in Berkeley right now is having to fly 18,000 miles, play in an unfamiliar situation against an unfamiliar team. And Cam Ward has familiarity with Cal, and Cal beat him last season.
Cal beat him last season. He has better weapons in Miami. They're a contender. They're going to beat Cal. Keep an eye on a Clemson matchup, possibly in the ACC championship game. We'll see what goes there. Different shade of orange, burnt orange, down in Austin, Texas. They fall from number 1. Alabama took their spot. Are the Horns contenders or pretenders?
100% contenders. And everybody, even outside of Austin, has to recognize that what Texas is doing right now is super special. They have 2 QB1s. When Ken Ewers is ready, and he's going to be ready in the perfect time when Georgia comes a calling in a couple of weeks, you'll be down there. We're going to be able to see Texas click on all cylinders. We already have seen them click on all cylinders, and they're a Bugatti. They have 12 cylinders. Quinn Ewers goes down, Arch Manning steps up. Look at him. The guy's a freaking human gazelle. He's not from the Manning lineage.
No.
Arch was the talented athlete, and that's his dad. Or rather, Cooper was his dad, and he was the all-state wide receiver. Texas is so real.
Yeah, no, they're real. Here's the thing, it's fun to forecast it ahead. Right now, if the college football playoff started today, they would be in a 5 seed.
Which is insane.
They'd be a 5 seed hosting Boise State.
Okay.
That'd be a fun
game.
That'd be a fun matchup.
Take the over.